Sweet. Cool. Well, the first thing I want to preface here. Sorry, I'm Enigma Factory slash Kyle, whatever you want to refer to me. Um, so first thing I want to prefix here with the exporter and importer system is it's in a bit of a state of flux at the moment because new functionality was being added to it. So the original importer stuff or extractor stuff, excuse me, that Dan posted was focused on the zones. He then added characters to it, but hasn't really put that out there on a public branch yet, nor has he released the importer for characters. Because as he was starting to do that, he got items and equipment in there as well. So he hasn't released that yet. So for us, we can bring in zones with all of their objects, their trees, all their textures, all of that. And we can also bring in characters with their rigs and textures and all of that fun stuff on his kind of beta version that's not really set up too pretty for it. But now that he's got items working on his back end, he's been doing some cleanup on that extractor system that includes the equipment and items as well, and then doing kind of a final pass on that, and then shoring up the extractor. I think he was talking in the next like 2 weeks ish. He should have that pretty well cleaned up, and then a few of us are gonna help do a pass on it to make it a little bit better. So this experience is going to be a lot better than what it currently is, but this is what you can do with it now. So on his GitHub, he has this. I'll copy this over into the Project Lantern chat. So from his main repository here, he has both the Lantern Extractor and the Lantern Unity importer. Within the Lantern Extractor, this is the old version that only does zones and doesn't have the characters. So that is why I sent that link, which is for this 2.0 development branch, which adds in the characters. Yeah, it looks like he just put the equipment branch up too, but quite touch that yet.
Are you streaming your right monitor? I just see the Unity hub still, unless that's what you mean to stream.
My apologies. Thanks for bringing that to my attention here. Cool. Sorry
There
about
you
that.
go.
Okay. This makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. Sorry. So I dropped that link in the chat there. But here's Wizzle's pretty face. And we have Lantern Extractor and Unity Importer on it. Lantern Extractor is over here. It's going to default to the master. If you click that link, you're already going to be on the right branch. But here you click down and go to Development 2.0 branch. And this is Lantern Extractor.
Would you be okay if I recorded this?
Yeah, definitely. I'm recording it as well. But yeah, definitely.
Just in case, maybe just get two people doing it.
100%.
Okay, yeah.
Like I said, I don't know if you were in here when I said it, Landon, but a large new version with the equipment in it and a bunch of stuff cleaned up and making a lot better of experiences on the horizon within the next few weeks. So we'll make like good videos and documentation at that point. But so you can get started with it right now. So this is the development branch. If you utilize any kind of SVN application or command line, you can set it to be pulling these branches. So here I have like GitHub synced up to those repositories. That's kind of outside of the scope of what we're doing right now. But if you ever want help getting,
I love that application.
Yeah,
I love GitHub Desktop. I love it.
awesome. So yeah, being familiar with it, you can just pull this in. If you go to the To the code here, you can HTTPS it or SSH it or GitHub CLI right into GitHub Desktop or open with GitHub Desktop here. If you don't want to do that right now, you can go ahead and download the zip is a perfectly fine option as well. Let's make a new folder. I know I typoed that, but that's okay. So go ahead and download that somewhere on your computer, or if you did GitHub, that's totally cool. So I have the project here. I'm going to go ahead and open up this zip file and extract its contents. Cool. I should have the Lantern Extractor development build open here. And there is a Visual Studio solution right in here. Since you've already have Unity installed and running, it automatically installs Visual Studio for you. So this SLN should look like it has a file association with Visual Studio. So you can just double click that to open up Visual Studio. So here we've actually opened up the application. You will notice either in the directory here within Lantern Extractor or within the Solution Explorer here, you have a settings text file. So this has some of your basic settings that we're going to pass to the application. The first and most important here is our EverQuest directory. So we need to find an EverQuest directory that's going to work for that. It is designed around the Trilogy client. All of the stuff is there to tell it where things are from the Trilogy client. Most of us have Titanium installs, which is totally cool as well. Just be aware that for some of the models and stuff that it pulls in, it's not going to be able to pull in the textures and things like that from stuff that's outside of Trilogy. A lot of it gets, but some of it doesn't. I can show you that in the project in a little bit.
Yeah, I tried that with the Nexus and it wasn't working. It pulled the objects in, but it did not pull the.
Definitely. Yup. So I'm using a Titanium build, and then on the Project 99 tools, there is actually a batch file somebody wrote for stripping down the files. Where's it here? EQ.
Oh, EQ.
Yep, this EQ Lite client link here just provides you with just a little batch file this guy made that just takes out everything that's not through Velius. So I found that kind of helpful for it, because even though I'm using my P99 folder, actually a copy of it, but you're able to strip it down and get it a lot smaller. So my Titanium here, is 7.5 gigs, where this stripped down version is only 2.4. So I'm going to open up my EverQuest directory wherever you have EverQuest on your computer. Never a bad idea to have a copy of it. I have several copies for different servers and stuff like that. So, but just copy the path and go ahead and in the settings file, replace your path with that. I don't know, honestly, if the direction of these matters, but since he has them with backslashes, I've gone ahead and changed those. So I would recommend updating those just in case. the raw S3D, some of these settings currently aren't working great either. And most of these by default is going to work just fine for you. Skeeter, I'm assuming you for model export format are using one for objects, right?
I wasn't watching. Say that again.
Within the settings, I'm assuming you for the model export format are using one for object instead of
Yes.
intermediate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's one thing to understand on here. So we have export zone mesh groups. So this is a little broken right now, so you probably just want to leave it false. Hidden geometry, zone collision exports, you can leave that as false if you're looking for more just modeling stuff. So here, the big one is set the desired export format for models. 0, the default, is intermediate, which is going to spit out text files that Unity on the importer side understands. So if you're trying to use this in a Unity project, I highly recommend that. And that's what I utilize. But if you're just here, wanting to art around with some of the zones, you can set that to 1 and get an object file you can open directly. So this export all characters to a single folder is kind of in development. Right now, all of the character models will always export to a folder named all. But that is optional toggle in there. So the big things here is just set your EverQuest directory. Like I said, if you're not really worried about the Unity side, you can change this to 1 in the settings. Even after we compile the application, this settings text will still be in your project, so you can modify it. So for this exercise, leave this as 0 for now. We can go back, set it to 1. You guys can do object imports as you want there. So all the source code is here written in C#, but we don't have to worry about that too much. We could execute the application right from here, but since we want to use it more in the future, we'll go ahead and build it. Right now it's in debug configuration. Wizzle just made Skeeter aware of some issues with the release branch on it. I built a release branch, but I also did some modifications to it, so you can just leave that set to debug here, and then go ahead and build Lantern Extractor. So you go up to the build menu, build Lantern Extractor, and you'll get this fun little window. Configurations debug, runs through, and it should have built the project with no errors. So what does that mean? If we go back into our directory where we installed this, so for me it's this Extractor folder, back into it. So here's the source stuff that we just saw in Lantern Extractor. Here's that settings file we are modifying, the settings.txt. The builds, when you build stuff in Visual Studio, it puts it in this folder called bin. So we'll open up bin, and we did it as a debug build. So this is going to be our debug. So here's the actual application, lanternextractor.exe. So we've got that there. However, what we need to do is pass it zone short names. Dan has this Google Sheet I'll also post to here, which gives us the short names. If you don't know them by heart, you are a bad EverQuest fan.
Yeah.
So here we have all of our zone names from the original game. This will work with Canark and Velia zones as well. They're just not on this list. So from there, you can open up a command prompt on this directory. So there's ways to set in your shell right-click options to open up a command window here. I'm happy to help people with that and show you how to do that at some point if you prefer. Otherwise, you can come up down to the bottom, open up your command line with CMD, and then CD to the directory. But that's a huge pain as well. So what I like to do, as not a very smart guy, is instead make a little batch file. You can ignore what I'm doing for a second here. I'm just going to my existing one to show you. So this is an example of a batch file, super simple, that runs it, and you don't have to worry about change directories and stuff. So let's create that ourselves. So back in the debug directory here, just right-click, new text document, and you can name this whatever you want. So I'll just call it run. I'm going to leave it as a .text for now, just so I can open it up. I'm just going to type in here Lantern Extractor .exe, because that's the name of the executable that's in there, space, and then we need a zone that we want to export. So I guess let's go with Lava Storm. Press Control S to save that. Come back, and now we're going to rename this file instead of a .text file, and you could have done this all in one. I just did it because it's easier to open up the text file. But we're just going to rename the .text to .bat and press Enter and accept that. So now we have this run.bat file. You can go ahead and run it. It tells me it's running Lava Storm. As you can see, it's doing stuff with folders here. Uh-oh. I got all the characters. I got apparently the arena issue. Let's see if it gave me the actual zone textures. Nope, it gave me the arena. So was that, Skeeter? Because I thought on this you had
That's
success.
the issue I was having.
Is it my directory is my issue?
I think just the fact that you're getting the arena means you compiled in debug or something. Otherwise, it'd be giving you nothing, I think. Could be wrong.
Sorry, bear with me.
Are you able to change the directory after you built it?
Yes. So you have this settings text file here. You just open that up, and you can edit it right here.
Okay. I didn't know if the backslashes mattered or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna double check my settings folder file. Give me one sec here. So client is right. That's false, false. 0 and log verbosity. So my settings totally match there.
Is Lava Storm in the... No, it should be in there.
Yeah, and I've done it.
'Cause I'm wondering, didn't Lava Storm change in Titanium?
No. It changed way later.
You think Modest might
Hello.
Hey,
Hello?
how's it going, Mattis?
Doing all right. Getting the kids down a little early.
Nice.
I'm gonna be on an airplane all day tomorrow, so.
Oof. Yeah, so that's a little confusing. Sorry, I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. I'm going to go ahead and back in Visual Studio, changes to release build, and rebuild. So now the difference is back in your directory where you have the actual project. If you go into the bin folder, now you should have a release as well as debug, if you're following along at home. Puts us in the same position, so let's just copy our batch file over. Yep. So in here, I have exactly what we did before in this batch file, lantern extractor.exe, OOT, Ocean of Tears. Let's give that a run. There we go. Okay, so I'm sorry. Just build it as a release. The debug wants to push Arena. So my apologies if you built it in debug. Once again, to do that, all you got to do is within Visual Studio, change this drop down from debug to release and build the project, and then access the project from the release folder instead of the bin. So now we have Ocean of Tears with all of its file layout here. So here we're going to have the various objects that make it up, and then the zone here. So here's all the zone textures utilized in it. Cool. So at this point, like I said, we could go into the settings and change it. And actually, I mean, I think that's kind of Fab's primary goal with it. But I'd like to show you the importer side of it as well. That's a little bit more complicated at the moment because the importer that works with it hasn't been publicly released. So I think Dan has given that to several people in this room, but I just don't know exactly how comfortable he is with it at the moment. So he does have it on his website, the Lantern Unity Importer project that you can get. But like I said, for the current version, there's a brand new version coming out where a lot of this will be more streamlined and stuff. If you need the version that works with this 0.2.0 extractor, you'd have to request that from Dan directly. I think he'd be cool with me distributing it to people that are interested. So I can definitely do that. I'm just going to run real quick through what that process looks like. And then we'll go back and export it as an object for the artist type instead of the Unity developer types. So for that, Dan will provide you with this Lantern Unity zip file that you would open up. And it's got this Lantern Unity, which is a Unity project in it. So you'd simply want to take this project and extract it to a folder here. So you have like Lantern Unity. Then in your Unity hub, under the projects, you have an add button. So you click add and simply navigate to your Lantern Unity folder, select folder, and it would add it as a project here into Unity. Once that is imported, let me save my window layout. If I knew what I was doing. So once you are in Unity, you would not have all of these crazy folders that I have because Age of Turmoil is pretty gigantic. But one of the folders that you're going to have is this zone assets and content are the two different folders that you're going to see in there. In zone assets, if you expand it, it's going to have classic and all in it by default. Again, all is how it handles things for all of the characters currently. So that is going to change. So in your classic directory, what you would do is from your Lantern Extractor release, here's that OOT file that we just did. I would simply grab it, drag it, and copy it into my assets, zone assets classic folder in Unity. Just take a second to copy that over. And Unity's going to import all of that junk. Not junk, all of that beautiful art. So again, we're using the intermediary files. So this OOT, you can see it's a bunch of text. And here's the zone meshes, but they're text. They're not FBXs. Like, what's up with that? Again, that's because they're the Unity intermediary file. In this project, there is an editor add-on for Unity, so it's going to add this button up on your top bar automatically as soon as you launch the Lantern Unity project that says EQ. So here we have import zone and import characters as our two different options. I'm going to do import zone, and it's asked for the zone short name. So we're going to put OOT, because that's the name of our folder that we dragged into the classic folder here, and hit import. It's going to work on that, which is going to take a little bit here. So I guess while it's working on that, and then I'll show it to you on the Unity side, we'll do the more arty way, get the objects out instead. So I'm going to go back into my Lantern Extractor bin releases folder, go into settings here, and just change where it says set the desired export format for models. We're going to change this from a 0 to a 1. Press Control S to save, and we've just changed that setting. I'm going to edit our command prompt here. What zone do people want to do?
Kinos.
Now I have a little question.
Yeah.
Mine didn't turn into a proper batch file when I saved it as a .bat. It's still a text file, so it's not exporting.
Definitely, yeah. So what you probably have is your views aren't actually showing your extensions. So if you go up to here on your File Explorer and click View, and then on the right here it says File Name Extensions. Is that checked?
No, it wasn't.
So if you check that, now all files in your Explorer will actually show, because what you did is just named it whatever .bat .text. So just delete that .text off of it, and you should be good to go.
Beautiful. Aha, it works. Thanks.
So we want to do a Kenos. Why'd you have to make it one with multiple zone options? Kenos or Kenos 2?
You know, let's do Agok, actually. I haven't seen enough love for Agok.
All right, we'll do Ogok.
Hell yeah.
So we save Ogok there, back in our release folder. I'm going to run this command.bat. And there it goes. It spit out Ogok. It's still working, so you don't want to close this.
Is that how I'm supposed to pronounce it?
I'm cool with whatever. And I've actually never done this as an object before, but if we click Ogok zone, here we have the different objects. So I can go ahead. I don't know what this is trying to open it up with. I'll just launch it in Windows, stupid window. I was going to launch it in Blender, which is obviously an option, so maybe we should do that just to see how it comes out up in a Blender, but I didn't have that as an immediate option, so I just opened it in this silly tool, which I have no idea how to navigate. And there's Ogok with all of its textures in all of its glory. You'll notice, since we're doing the object import way, this doesn't have any of the zone objects in it. We're just getting the geometry of the zone. So things like trees and buildings and stuff like that should be present if you go here to objects, and then here's all of the different objects in it. Their placement is probably defined somewhere in here, so you'd have to figure out a way to like load that back in, and that's an option. But in any case, that gives you all the objects here. You can start opening them up and playing around with them. Back in Unity, did this finish? No, I think it's still working on the zone. Importer does take a little while. Oh, zone import finished. So my zone import back in the Unity version of this, I'm going to go ahead and turn off Nectalis in my scene. The zone imported, but it's not in the zone assets folder. It's actually now moved into this content folder. So if I go into content, I have zone data, and now I have OOT, for Ocean of Tears. It's subdivided into zone and object folder, but it also made a prefab here, which is a game object in Unity called OOT. I'm going to drag that into my scene view just by grabbing it, dragging it over, and I have the Ocean of Tears in my Unity scene. What's really freaking neat about this is all of the objects and everything are already placed in here. So all of the trees and stuff like that are all in it. Here I can modify the scale and the transform. This is basic Unity stuff. My scene view bigger. And that's how you get the whole zone in. I'm noticing now we've got a lot of fog. That's in our lighting settings. So let's go add a tab. Oh. Rendering lighting settings. Get rid of this annoying fog. One thing that is really weird with these when they're in Unity, that doesn't seem to do when they're on object exports, is there's actually zone boundaries within these zones, hard zone lines. So you can see the roof here we have, or the sky, we have actual polygons there, and the walls have actual polygon geometry there. Unity does not have built-in mesh editing. However, there is a in the package manager, so window package manager, there's a tool, I don't even think I have it in this project, but it's called ProBuilder. So we can search ProBuilder in there and load it into our project. And once you
Is this what you used for Evercraft or Evercart when you were making this?
Yup.
figure?
So I brought in the zone, and Kara Ridge here had that same kind of skybox crap. When you import ProBuilder into your project, you can then take the zone geometry. Sorry, there's too many things going on. There you go. And you get these tools for object selection, vertex selection, edges, and faces. And that shows you the whole zone. Because there's a lot of frustrating things, like, I was talking about the objects being in there. So here, like this hut is a Unity object. You can see it's separated off here. I could, move it around. I could rotate it. I can scale it, do whatever I want with it. Same with this tree. But then there's just random things like this hut here that's actually part of the zone geometry. Also, since this is a kart racing game, here, this wall wasn't here, and you only had this one bridge. So with the power of ProBuilder, I was able to subdivide out this bridge, duplicate it, scale it a little bit, add in this wall. I blew out this chasm to make that wider. I took out the wall and part of the fence here in front of the castle. The castle had a big wall here, and this came down to 2 rooms. But I went ahead and completely custom modeled all of this to have this little throne room followed by a hypogeum and then a big cave that I'm currently working on modeling. So and it's really cool with the power of ProBuilder because you can just come in here and select a face and use the native Unity tools to drag them around, as well as a whole tool set for extruding and beveling and stuff like that.
Is ProBuilder a free package?
Yes, ProBuilder is a completely free package in it. And in fact, at first I tried UModeler, which I paid like $250 for, something like that, and it was so slow. And then I just went into the package manager, which is under window, package manager. You can also search it in the asset store and bring it up. And just you search here for ProBuilder. It's really slow. That's the reason why I don't screw around with these windows too much, because there's so many packages out there. Excuse me. But yeah, bring in Pro Builder completely free, and you're editing EverQuest geometry right in it. It's also got a full UV system in it for laying out the textures and applying those and stuff. Like I can just apply the sand texture right there. So with that, kind of the first thing I did was Pro Builder has a select by material option. So I just kind of clicked onto this weird skybox, did select by material, and it grabbed all of it. And then I just set it to be invisible. But then I was like, oh shit, I got Pro Builder in here. So I was able to just delete out all of those extraneous faces. So, but like I said, that's for the Unity side. What I do for characters, then I'd actually probably be better in here. For the characters, they show up in your content zone data all. You have this characters folder. As you can see here, I've got these pink ones. That's because I ran it on all. So those are like future models that didn't actually come in with the game. If I drag one of these models out, like here's the Afridi, you can see he is all crumpled to shit beyond recognition. What's weird is if I hit play, he'll snap into his proper form, like he'll actually respect his skeleton. And do not recommend streaming, recording, and running 2 large Unity projects at the same time, but oh, I died. So there he snaps into his proper form. But another Unity package within the package manager exists called FBX export. So I can right click export to FBX or export to FBX prefab is what I usually do, because that simultaneously creates a prefab and an FBX. And when you do that, it simultaneously makes the new prefab where they're not collapsed, and also gives you an FBX of the art asset. For the characters, like in Age of Turmoil here, if I'm back out of this stuff, I'm using modern animations on my characters, so I don't want to use the existing skeleton, because you can't, retarget it playing animation. So in like Evercart, like the Karens and the gorillas and the werewolves and stuff like that, I'm using legacy animations with the actual Unity animations. But for more advanced stuff and using a full animation set, I need to get them out. So I take the FBX, pull it into Blender, export it without the armature, pull it into Mixamo, and auto rig it, which is one of the reasons why the legs don't look good, because it's just an auto rig setup. And that allows me to use, any modern animation with it to end up getting that better gameplay. If when I come over to Evercart and run this, the drivers in here, I did that FBX export, re-rigged them, and I'm using custom animations for like steering. But the kind of prop characters are using their normal EverQuest animations. So here you can see the skeletons in his idle animation, and those Karens are in theirs. Kill animation when I smash into them. We have a giant gorilla and werewolf doing their basic attack animations. So actual EverQuest animations, character is special animation. Sweet. So yeah, I'm sorry for some of the little hiccups there, not being super prepared for it. Like I said, the new version is coming out. Whizzle's almost ready with it. That's going to add all of the items and stuff. I'll make a bunch of documentation, do more of these kind of sessions, as well as make videos for it and all of that fun stuff. But that shows you how to get it out both as just objects that you can go ahead and manipulate, or in the Unity importer. I know I kind of skipped over that and just gave kind of a high level preview of it, and some might not have the Unity importer. I can verify with Whizzle, or if you ask him directly, he can send that to you. So if you want to play with that, I'm always here for any other questions. Anything anybody wants to ask now, or?
Well, thanks a ton. This was really cool.
Yeah, it's really exciting. This has been a dream for me. I joined Hackers Quest when I was 12, and we were working on an application called EQ Inside, which could pull some of the art assets. So, like the drag items from your inventory, pulled all of those out and threw them in RPG Maker 95 and made a little inventory system with EverQuest art. And over the years, every couple of years, I come back and go like, I wonder if people have figured out more. And people had gotten the zone art out, usually without the objects, a bunch of scaling issues, problems like that. Only one project I know on was really getting characters out, and their pipeline was rather difficult and not very open. So these tools are just an amazing boon for it, and you can do some really cool stuff with it really rapidly. So it's been awesome. We got really great community here. More and more really talented people are showing up all the time. So as much as I can do to support that, because I just like silly EverQuest shit. So
Yeah, thanks so much for showing this off. I was really curious how it all worked together, and yeah, it's a little easier than I thought it would be, in all honesty. But that's really cool. Yeah, and just seeing you drag it and drop it right in there and play around with it, that's incredible.
yeah, being able to go from the raw files in your EverQuest directory to something like this, or you're running around and viewing the world. I mean, we got Ocean of Tears in there that quick and running around it. So there's other little caveats, but some weird stuff that we experienced tonight with the exporter and importer. But like I said, a huge pass is going across those, so this is going to be way more fluid and better documented, and I'll do lots more of this. Cool. Well, if there's no other questions or anything, I'm gonna kill my stream, and I'm sure my lady's gonna want me soon.